Hey there, my friends. The name is Rabbit, and welcome to our bonus exploration of the post-game content here in Jade Cocoon 2. You are here in episode 139, which was following our exploration of some earlier fire forests, just because we did have quite a few cutscenes to see, so I brought you guys through the level 1 fire forest, and we are pretty early on in the level 2 fire forest, specifically Island 2 of level 2. Fire Throne also, as you can see from the upper left-hand descriptor there. So not really too much to describe to you guys outside of the 4 cutscenes we had, mostly with Wu and Nam in some way, shape, or form. And then we ran into 2 Og beast hunters that were on the verge of starvation, and Nico creepily suggested that they might have been reduced to cannibalism if we had arrived even just a little bit later. Very peculiar cutscene, not gonna lie, but that's okay. We're not gonna dwell on it. Instead, we're just gonna keep on exploring and see how many more cutscenes await us. And if there aren't too many here in Fire Throne, I shared with you guys that I don't plan on making you guys just watch me do all of this empty running around, especially as the forests get more and more expansive. I know that that can eat at quite a bit of playtime, and ain't nobody trying to deal with that. So hopefully this douchebag will run away. And in our last episode, I was kind of just sharing with you guys some things that have happened in my own life, with starting out my dad passing away at the beginning of August, which was just so hard because, as I was specifically sharing with you prior to concluding our last episode, my dad was a rock star. He was such a giving, wonderful human being that just would have given you the shirt off his back, and he literally has done that numerous times. He just served as such an inspiration to me, and I think one of the biggest regrets that I have is that I never really got an opportunity to get to know him as closely as friends as I would have liked. I mean, he and I were always very friendly with each other. Like, I had a wonderful relationship with my dad. Even just, oh my goodness, a couple days prior to his passing. I'm trying to think, we talked for an hour? Not long before he had passed away.
Hi, what's up? You look pretty happy. You came at just the right time. What's this all of a sudden? What's this? You're gonna be surprised. A super awesome formation. I want to test it quick. I get it. That's it. It's just like you. Okay, let's have a match. Excellent, Kahu. That's the spirit. Let's go.
Well, this was a tad bit unexpected. I wasn't anticipating a fight here. Oh my god.
Okay, let's all go. Are you ready? Here it goes.
Oh my god, you guys. We might get our asses whooped. Holy shit. This could be very bad. But it's okay. It's all good. He is short one beast on his amulet to us. So I think we should be okay. Possibly. I will continue talking about my dad in a second. I need a minute to at least make sure I'm not going to get my ass totally whooped. But I think between my hackney bullshit, I should be fine. Maybe. I'm going to just do a simple rotation through to see what we can do. Oh my god, I'm a little nervous though. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Okay. Well, actually, his beasts don't seem like they're too tough, so we might be in a better situation than what Fossa Magna? I don't even know what that is. Not cool. Maybe we'll be finding that somewhere in this level forest? Oh no! Oh no! Please put them to sleep. Please put them to sleep. Oh my god, no! Please, no! You guys, no! Is this the petrification? Oh my god. Did it work? Did it apply? I don't know, but we're going for round 2 on this side. Actually, if I can say like 2, spend 2 turns on this, I might be okay. I'm just not trying to have him do some bullshit to my team. What? Someone revived? Oh, you're joking, you asshole. But guys, we're okay. I don't need to panic too much. I think it looks a little scary and daunting, but we're doing a pretty good job.
You're pretty strong.
You damn tootin'. All right, I think we're good. So I'm going to try to let this side get all of the XP. Salam nice. Beautiful, beautiful. And another hit to the center. I think you're the one who needs good luck. And as I say that, he like fucks up Fizzy. Let me watch my mouth, y'all. Holy cow. I forgot how scary some of these fights can be. But it's over. Oh, we won. Easy.
Master, I have lost.
I think you should call me Master. Get on them knees, Nam. Ah, look at all that XP. Perfect.
I thought it was pretty good, but I guess I gotta tweak it a bit.
Nam, I love the new you. Have I told you this?
Thanks, Kahu, you really helped me out. Now I know how to improve.
I just love how Nam acts now. Even his portraits are so adorable. I just think they did a really good job of turning him from kind of a whiny, obnoxious brat into a character that you can kind of relate to, right? He's a pretty cool kid. So, anyway, back to my dad. I regret that he and I never really had the chance to be close friends, even though we have always had a very good and honest and open relationship. Oh, so like I was just saying before we got into the fight with Nam, I had spoken with him for an hour just a couple days before he died. So his passing away was incredibly unexpected and it was rapid, so there wasn't even time to respond. It was just not something any of us could have ever planned for. He was just a really secretive person. I would say the best way to describe my dad is that he was a silent sufferer because he was one of those people that wanted to devote more of his energy to helping others than to having other people worry about helping him, which lends to a bit of the frustration Andrew and I feel because our plan, and my dad even was aware of this for the longest time, was as soon as Andrew and I bought a house, following Andrew's decision as to where we're going to be moving next for him to finish up his PhD stuff, my dad was going to move in with us. Like, we had it planned. We talked to him about it. He had consented to this and thought it was a great idea. So, honestly, the timeline was like another year before Andrew and I were going to pack up and hopefully do one of our final moves. Because I know, you guys, it sounds like every other year we're truly moving to a new place. And I know it drives me nuts. I'm sure. Oh, this is the arena. I don't really want to do the arena here. We're going to stomp everybody, but it is a way for us to get money. I'm really not interested. Not at this level. We're too, I don't want to say overpowered, but there's not going to be, unless they increase the difficulty, because we're in the post game.
3 beast hunters, and if you win, a large prize fund shall be paid.
And if you lose it?
Yeah. We already know this. I'm just trying to think.
Oh, so that...
Yes, thank you.
What I can do... Yeah, the entrance fee. Oh, I don't have the money for it anyway. Never mind. Okay, so, well, that, answered that for me. But anyway, he kind of knew this plan, and this was something that we had all agreed would be a great idea. Just because I have always loved my dad. I wouldn't say I was a daddy's girl, but I always felt like I could tell him the truth about what I was thinking or what was happening in my life. And he was very non-judgmental. Sometimes, you could tell that he would do things differently than you were thinking you wanted to do, but he would listen to your side and he was open to your interpretation of events and why you would gravitate towards certain conclusions, which is something I always loved about him and I always tried to emulate in my own interactions with people. Just even if it's a choice that I wouldn't necessarily advise or something I would do myself, I have tried very much for my entire life to be like my dad in that sense, where it's just like, I wouldn't do it this way and I think it's a bad idea, but I will not judge you for this choice. I just hope that you think it through before you go down this path. That's kind of been my motto. That was his motto. So, god damn it, these people getting stuck for no reason is driving me nuts. But it's fine. Why does it matter? It doesn't matter. It's a little bit of extra XP. Not much, but we'll take what we can get. So I was very close to my dad, but I feel like just still since I'm in my 20s, even though he was open to my advice and my thoughts on things, even in his own life, I could tell that he still viewed me a little bit as just his daughter, and not really as an equal, which is fine. I know that that's the kind of relationship that very few people actually have with their parents, where, their thoughts and advice, it's taken in a similar fashion as a peer at work or someone that your parents grew up with. And I never necessarily expected my relationship with my dad to reach that point, but I knew there was a chance it could have, so it was something I always looked forward to. And how did he hit me? I don't even understand. He must have just barely tapped Kahu's balls there. So that was a point of my life that I've been eagerly anticipating, and Andrew and I talked very frequently about, oh my gosh, I can't wait till my dad lives with us, and, we're all together, and, just grandchildren. It was something that he had wanted for such a long time, and Andrew and I just aren't really in a stable enough position, I think, to where, not financially, that is, like we could have had kids 4 years ago, like finances have not been an issue, but we just moved so much because I was going through school and now Andrew's going through school and kind of like debating, do I want to do second master's or stay on the straight path through this PhD? Like we move so much. Literally every 2 years, it feels like, or every 2.5 years, we're planning a trip to a different state. So it wouldn't make sense for us to have like 3 kids when we're moving all the time and we haven't bought a house, so they would come. I don't know. It could work. And maybe, we should have just done it, but there was no way for us to predict that my dad was going to be so secretive about something that was going on in his life with his health. Even, I was sharing with you guys that not long before he had died, I spoke with him, and he had a bit of a raspy, hoarse voice. And I remember distinctly saying to him, Father, you don't sound like you're doing too well. Is everything okay? Because I was willing to even take PTO and just go and stay with him until he felt better. He never remarried after him and my mom parted ways, and don't even get me started on my mother. We've talked about her quite a few times, how she just wasn't a good mom, wasn't a good wife to him, just not really a good human being in general. But this isn't about her, this is about my dad. So he, really loved my mom and took his wedding vows so seriously that he just wasn't interested in remarrying. I think if someone had just presented themselves to him, he would have been open to maybe trying it, but he wasn't the kind of person that was just going to go out of his way to be with another woman for the sake of doing it, which I think actually is one of his mistakes, that he let himself live in a somewhat state of isolation where really the only contact he got with other people would be when my sister and or I would visit, or when he would go to work. And he definitely worked a lot, volunteered a lot, so he was surrounded by people, but the relationships outside of what he had with me and Bear, they weren't that deep or meaningful. So I think him being sick with something or hurt by something wouldn't be shared, or the pain wouldn't be carried by other friends or by anyone else because he didn't want anyone else to know what was going on. So I had spoken with him and I knew he wasn't feeling well. And I remember, and Andrew will even tell you, I was a bit distraught in those few final days because I was telling Andrew, like, I think my dad's hiding something from me. He said he just had a cold, but then he let it kind of slip that he's been not feeling well for a few weeks. And, I had spoken to him not long before that point too, and he didn't sound that bad. So I didn't know if he was lying about how sick he was or if he was just fighting multiple things. But, I didn't want to judge him if he was hiding something from me, because maybe it really wasn't a big deal and he felt like, I don't want to deal with Rabbit being worried. I don't want her to come here and take PTO when I just truly have a cold or a flu or something that I'm having a hard time fighting. And he wasn't that old. Like, it's not like he was in his 70s to where you could maybe justify, hey, if he's got a cold that he's not getting rid of, you probably should just fucking go, even if it doesn't seem like it's going to be that serious. He was 66 and he wasn't overweight. He didn't have a lot of health conditions, at least he never shared them with me. I found out afterwards, looking through some of his medical reports and, of course, in talking with the VA as we've been navigating a lot of estate things and financial things and just paying some stuff off for him. that, you know, he had intended to pay and would have been paying, but he died before he had a chance to get some bills for tests that he had been having that he also withheld that info from us. He was just very secretive about what was going on. And, you know, to an extent, I get it. When I was sick around this time last year, so if you guys watch videos from 2016, September, October time, I would say end of August, all September, all October, and like early November, I was very ill for a while because I was working around small sick children in that clinic environment. And I just, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's also because Andrew and I had just moved across country from Colorado to Wisconsin, so I wasn't getting a lot of sleep because I was unpacking. We had so many things we were trying to figure out. I immediately started working 2 days, maybe 3 days after we had moved here. Like, I basically started working after that weekend had gone by. So we had moved from Colorado to Wisconsin. I think we got here on a Friday, and then I had Saturday and Sunday to do some unpacking, and then I started working on Monday. I think that's how it went, or something like that. So I just was constantly in go mode. I had a little bit of stress from things going on. And then, like I said, I was in a completely new environment. Sick people, young kids, that's a recipe for being sick for a while. But my body in particular, probably due to the stress and lack of sleep and trying to get acclimated to a new environment in general, I was ill for months. Guys, it was a long time that I was very sick. And then I would say a couple months even after that, I had a little bit of sickness where I had minor pneumonia for a while, like walking pneumonia. And then I had the flu. I had a cold. I had an infection, like a sinus infection. It was just one thing after the other. And, you know, I remember my dad even kind of expressing concern when I had spoken to him during that time. And he was saying, "Are you sure you're okay?" And I got so tired of him asking me that because I didn't want him to be stressed or worried about me that I purposefully kind of withheld or downplayed it. And I was like, "Oh, it's not a big deal. I went out camping and I just caught a new cold," when in all actuality, I had walking pneumonia, you know? So I don't judge him for hiding some things from me because, you know, to be fair, I've done the same thing to him just because I didn't want him stressing. But this time it was not a good choice because he hid some very serious things that, let's just say, and I guess I don't really want to get into all the details because I can tell this is going to upset me. He was so sick that he was starting to look into taking sick leave from work, but he never disclosed any of that. And in fact, when I had spoken to him, he told me he was like fine. It was just a little cold and he was feeling great and looking forward to coming and visiting me. Actually, right around now, he was going to come up in October to spend 2 weeks with me, just, you know, because that's the kind of dad he was. He loved me and he loved Bear and he was always there for us, and we really tried to always be there for him too, but he didn't want people to be there for him because he was such a silent sufferer and he just didn't want other people to bear his burdens, which, you know, how much can you really fault him for that? But as much as it hurts me to say this, his dying was kind of his fault because he didn't want to accept that he was sick, and he didn't want to share that he was sick, and he didn't want anyone to worry about him being sick. So he literally let himself die because he didn't want any help. And I found out after Andrew and I have been going through things, and we're still finding out new things every single week. We're learning something new, which is insane because it's been, like I said, two months. And even just yesterday, got a phone call and found out something new about what was going on with him. But he had a few medical things that had worsened over time, and ultimately he needed to have a surgery that he couldn't do solo because he would have needed someone to take care of him afterwards. And then he also desperately needed to take time off. I actually remember one of our last conversations, I think it was the second to last time we talked. He was still not feeling well at that time, but it wasn't as extreme as the last time I had spoken to him. Or it wasn't as apparent as the last time I had spoken to him and was really probing and prying about his situation. But I remember us talking about, you know, like, it's nice to have work goals and it's nice to be independent, but I I was very serious in talking to him about how I loved him so much, and if there was anything he needed, I hoped that he felt he could talk to me about it and share those concerns with me. And I remember him just kind of laughing, and he was like, oh my gosh, you just worry so much. It's okay. I'm fine. But he even said at that time, he's like, but I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and, I'll take your advice to heart. So I was always worried about him overworking himself, and I suspected that he wasn't taking enough time off and doing the things he needed to be doing to just guard his own health. And he dismissed me and, in a sense, basically told me to chill. Like, it's fine, Rabbit. Why are you so worried about everything? I'm the dad. I've got it under control. And, I was a little like, Dad, you can tell me what's going on. But I get it, and I respect his privacy, but sometimes I feel a bit of guilt because I had felt for a while he's hiding things, and I need to just go back and make sure he's okay. And sometimes I just think, like, what if I had just gone with my gut instinct, even if it had annoyed him, which it would have, and even if he would have been kind of mad, which he probably would have been at me just showing up and being like, I took a whole week of PTO and I'm staying here until I know what's going on. Like, he would have felt that was invasive and not my job, and he might have even felt like, I told you not to do this. But what if that had saved him? What if I had gone to an appointment, or in that moment, me being there and seeing what state he had been in, he couldn't hide it from me. You know what I'm saying? You can't lie about your health if someone is seeing you losing weight, if someone is seeing that you're not eating at all. But you can't determine those things over the phone. You can only go on how the person sounds and what they're disclosing. So I really made the mistake, I think, of letting him be so secretive. And I don't know. I guess a part of me just didn't want to overstep my boundaries because I'm secretive about some things too. I don't know, you guys. So that's kind of where I'm at. I guess I won't go down that path because you'll always have what ifs, and it's possible. Andrew's been telling me, like, you got to let this go. This is what he wanted. It's ultimately his responsibility, not yours. If he wanted to lie about how sick he was, and if he wanted to lie about the state of his health and what was going on, like, you are his daughter, and like he told you, it really isn't your business if he tells you to fuck off. And he didn't say it like that, but you know what I mean? Like, I can't change his choices, even though I wish I could, and I wish I had just been that nosy, obnoxious daughter that was like, you know what? Don't care what you say. I'm here anyway because I love you, and I want to make sure you're not hiding things from me, because I know we all have a bad habit in my family of carrying things and not really being advocates for ourselves, just because I think, to be fair, and not to try to bring my mom into this again, but I think just the things we went through from my mom, it kind of trained us to, woohoo, getting some new forms here, and HP and MP up. I think it just trained us to not complain, because you just feel like, you know what, things could be worse. It's not worth it. Just save it. You'll get through it. Life goes on regardless of what you're kind of dealing with right now. So, it's a condition all of us have. Bear's that way. I'm that way. And it drives Andrew crazy because his family they're not open about things. They definitely sweep a lot of serious things under the rug. However, if it comes to being sick, they almost over communicate about things like that. Like, someone could get a splinter and they're like, oh my God, I gotta go to the hospital. So his family, I think, they're babies about being sick. But then my family, we're the extreme opposite, where, like, oh my God, we'll be hospitalized and I won't call my dad and tell him what's going on. And, it used to drive him nuts, but we all did it. So again, how much can I fault him for something that I literally did this time last year? Like, and it drove Andrew nuts too, because I didn't really tell him the extent of everything going on with me either. He would have to go through some of my medical stuff to find out things, because I just didn't want to stress him out or worry him. Like, yeah, I do have walking pneumonia, but it's fine. I'll still work my 10-hour shift. And it would just drive him nuts. So I got it from my dad, so I can't be mad at him about him doing it to us. But I feel like I live with this feeling of deep regret and grief because I just can't help but wonder, like, geez, what could I have done? Could I have done anything? Maybe not, you know, maybe I would have gotten there and everything that was kind of going on with him, it might have been too late for me to have an impact or to make a difference. And maybe it just would have been harder to see my dad so ill. I don't know. You know, I guess you never really know. And that's why it's so dangerous to live in the land of what ifs, is what we used to call it when I was a kiddo and just trying to deal with things with my mom. You don't really gain anything from dwelling on the past and things that you can't change. But you always wonder, you know, and you still feel that emptiness and you feel that hurt. And especially when you're in my position where you are the only person who's navigating the estate and all these legal adult things, you don't have time to grieve and mourn because you literally, as soon as I found out he was dead, I had to go and figure out, okay, what are we doing with the body? How are we handling the funeral? Who's going to hire a lawyer so that we can, you know, seize accounts and make sure everything is good to go. Like, I just, since his death, have been in go mode and trying to get everything taken care of. And I've still got a long road to go. And it's a lonely, painful road. And I know that Bear and I both probably, in the end, will benefit maybe from a little grief counseling. I think she is doing a little bit worse than I am. But, you know, who's to say? Maybe I'm in a worse state than I even realized, but I'm not dwelling on it right now because I can't. I don't have that luxury. I work a full-time job, and in my free time now, I'm on the phone with lawyers or doing phone calls to figure out what was he paying for? What can I turn off? Like, what can we keep on until we've gotten everything moved out of the house he was in? What next steps do I need to take so that I can seize this random bank account or so that I can cancel whatever? You know, there's just still a lot that needs to be done. And I feel like it's going to take at least another 2 to 4 months before this part of my life is done. And then I feel like at that point I can cry and look into if I need grief counseling or I don't know. So that's what's been going on with my dad. You know, it's really sad and I am still having a very difficult time with it. But, you know, talking to you guys about it has helped considerably. I really have appreciated all of your kindness and your thoughtful words. It's just meant a lot to me. So anyway, that's it for me talking about sad things. I promise in our next episode, as we are heading into fire walking number 4, I will talk to you guys about the pets that we've acquired. But I do just want to end on the note of saying that I loved my dad so much and his loss. Again, just to reuse the phrase, it's a monumental loss for the world because of everything he did for the country with his military service, you know, his contributions to Vietnam, everything that he's done in just co-founding orphanages, his financial just support of charities, and how actively involved he was in so many things in his community. I'm grieving, and I know a lot of people even at his work, they're grieving, people that he volunteered with, everyone's mourning because he was like a near perfect person, minus maybe the secrecy and the fact that, you know, he didn't want anyone to know what was going on. I guess you could say that's a fatal flaw, literally, but I love him so much, and I know that he'll always be with me, so I guess I should just take solace in that, right? So anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. We haven't had a lot of cutscenes, but we'll see. We're almost done making our way through everything anyway. So next episode, hopefully there will be a little bit more substance, but even if there's not, I'll be catching you guys up with the new little pet babies that we have. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Rabbit, and this is our bonus exploration of the post-game content, I don't know what a content is, of Jade Cocoon 2. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you all very soon.